All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down what is truly a silent crisis in American healthcare, the shocking gaps in care for new mothers after they've given birth. And it's a time when the risks, you might be surprised to learn, are incredibly high.
Okay, let's just start with that quote from Dr. Mama Dr. Jones because it is so important. I mean, think about that. This one idea completely flips the script on how we talk about maternal mortality. It tells us the danger doesn't just stop when you walk out of the hospital doors. For a lot of mothers, that's when the real danger starts.
So that naturally leads to the big question, right? If the most dangerous time for new moms isn't even in the hospital, then what on earth is going on out there? We're talking about that period we just don't pay enough attention to, the fourth trimester.
This time right after birth, it's just so critical for a mother's recovery, for a baby's development, for everything. And yet, that's the exact moment when the American healthcare system seems to, well, kind of check out. It's this huge, dangerous blind spot.
So here's the bottom line. If we really want to fix this, if we want to lower maternal mortality rates, it's not just about what happens in the delivery room. It's all about what happens in those crucial weeks and months after. Consistent supporting during that time, that's not some nice-to-have luxury. It's an absolute necessity.
And look, this feeling of being forgotten, it's not just anecdotal. It's not just a few moms talking amongst themselves. We've got hard data now from the Harris poll that shows, yep, this is a massive system-wide problem that the vast majority of mothers are feeling.
Okay, get ready for some of these numbers because they are just wow. A staggering 77% of women feel like the system just doesn't focus enough on them after the baby is born. I mean, that's more than 3 out of every 4 new moms basically screaming that the system is letting them down. That's huge. And this next one, this really hits you in the gut. 65%, almost 2/3 of women feel like they become an afterthought as soon as the baby is here. It's like all the attention just shifts, and the person who literally just went through this massive physical event is suddenly invisible. And it's not just a feeling. It's about the actual care they're getting or not getting. An overwhelming 84% of women say that the standard 6-week postpartum checkup, yeah, that's not cutting it. Not even close. It feels like just checking a box, not real comprehensive care. Okay, so it's one thing to say the care could be better. It's another thing entirely to say it was just plain bad. And that's what we're seeing here. Almost 1 in 4 women said their postpartum care was less than adequate. This isn't just a small group of people with a bad experience. This points to a major problem with the care being delivered. Now let's talk about mental health, because this is a massive part of the story. Look at this. Nearly 2 in 5 women, 38%, were actually diagnosed with something like anxiety or depression during their whole pregnancy journey. So, a ton of women are getting diagnosed, which is the first step, right? But then what? Well, here's where it gets really bad. For the women who felt they needed help, only about a quarter of them believed they got enough information about mental health resources. 76% did not. That's a huge, unacceptable gap between need and support. So you might be thinking, okay, this sounds pretty bleak. Is this just how it is? Well, no. A better way absolutely exists. Let's take a look at a pretty stunning comparison to see what's actually possible when a country decides to do things differently. And wow, the difference is just night and day. On one hand, you have the US system, which is basically reactive. You get one standard checkup, and you have to be the one to seek out any other care. Then you look at New Zealand. Their approach is proactive. The care literally comes to you. We're talking in-home visits from a midwife for 6 weeks or more. And it doesn't even stop with the midwife. After that, these incredible people called Plunket nurses take over. So you see, it's not about a single appointment. It's an entire infrastructure of support that's designed to look after both the mom and the baby for the long haul, until the kid turns 5. All right, so the obvious question is, if we know there's a better way to do this, why doesn't the US just, do it? Well, as you can probably guess, the answer is, it's complicated. It really comes down to these deep systemic roadblocks. The reality is, the American healthcare system just isn't built for this kind of proactive in-home care. It's not in its DNA. And when you start listing these barriers, you see just how big the problem is. First off, there's no system for routine home visits. Then, trying to get inpatient mental health care when you're pregnant or have a newborn, it is incredibly difficult. And on top of all that, there's this very real fear of what happens if you do ask for help. And this quote right here, it just cuts right to the heart of it. Imagine being a new mom, struggling, and knowing that if you ask for help, you might be admitted somewhere and separated from your baby.
that fear alone is enough to make so many women suffer in silence. It's wild to think that in a place like New Zealand, they have facilities where a mom can get inpatient care and keep her baby with her. That's almost unheard of in most of the US. When you peel back all the layers, this isn't just about a gap in healthcare. It's not just about protocols or insurance. It's really a reflection of our priorities as a society. It's a statement about who and what we choose to invest in.
And that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. This isn't an issue of can't, it's an issue of won't. It's not about what's possible, it's about what we prioritize. So if other countries have figured out how to build systems that truly support new mothers, what is it going to take for the US to finally decide that its mothers are worth it, too?